What up, Jason?
What's up, Johnny?
Welcome to Two J's in the Pod. I am Johnny.
And I'm Jason Alvarado. We bring you into our conversations, hot takes, and a little bit of friendly disagreements.
Where we are talking about everyday life, current affairs, or anything in our minds. We are here to dive in, debate, and agree to disagree. So sit back and relax and enjoy that banter.
Let's do it.
Hey, how you feel with the new set, Jason?
Yeah, I don't know if you're watching. We got a new podcast studio.
Right, coming from the new studio.
The
I'm very excited, Jason.
Yeah, me and Johnny have put in a lot of work into getting this together and figuring this out.
Right, we want to make it look nice.
Yeah, and there's still more changes coming, so you'll see.
Little by little. Work in progress, just like our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a big step, and I think it's something really cool and something to be proud of, right?
I'm very proud. Thank you for the hard work, Jason.
You got it, dude.
And before we get into our topics, I just want to apologize to you, Jason. I'm sorry. I feel like I cut you off a lot, so feel free to interrupt me. And then I'm a little bit nervous. So I get nervous, so I tend to go on a tangent.
Yeah, it's fine. No worries. I think that, like I said, we're learning. I'm not too worried about it.
And that's part of my therapy too. Learning how to, I'm a good listener, but sometimes I just go on. Anyways, Jason, so what are we going to start with?
I don't know. I just have like a few thoughts that I've had the last few days. I was thinking, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but my mind constantly is running. Like I'm constantly having conversations with myself. Do you do that?
Yes, when I'm very upset or when I'm like working on something.
Really? I just do that all the time, like on a daily basis. And then I listen to these conversations that I have in my head and I kind of give myself advice. Like I almost like coach myself. Like I almost give myself therapy with these voices in my head. I don't know if that's weird or not, but one of the thoughts that I had recently was like, I was thinking, the setbacks that we have in life and the different experiences that maybe are perceived as negative. And I was thinking, I feel like I've never taken a loss in life.
Like,
do you know what I mean by that?
Like you never felt like you took a loss in life?
No.
Like you never had like, that's what you perceive on your thoughts that you have?
So I was thinking about those things, right? Maybe like setbacks or things that didn't work out. You didn't get the job or all these things that get perceived as negative. Now, on paper, I've experienced those things, right? Like we've talked about. But then I think back on those experiences and I'm like, those things that in the moment seemed like setbacks or seemed like negatives. For me, looking at it now, I'm like, all those negative things or all those setbacks were just positives. They put me in a position where I could grow from. So whether it was I didn't get the job and I got a better job or, you didn't get the house you wanted. So you get something, you get these setbacks in life and you could focus on them and look at them as like negative. Or if you really look back at your life and look at these things that you had, these experiences, and see what positives came from that setback.
So kind of like letting go of your guilt and forgiveness, kind of like that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a different subject, but for me, looking at all like these experiences, whatever experience that you deem in your mind or you perceive as negative or a setback, that opened the door for another opportunity.
Well, now I know what you mean. And I thrive on that. It's funny because I was looking at the Kobe documentary.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was with a knot in my throat. But one of the things that he said that made sense to me, and I always focus on that, like you said, turning that negative into a positive. Right. And one of his quotes is, turn that negative and refocus it. And I always try to do that, especially at work. Like the more, like when they put an obstacle and they say, well, he's not going to be able to make it and anything, that just drives me to be better, 10 times better. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I kind of refocus that negative energy. Yeah,
and like the whole basketball thing, like everybody knows how Michael Jordan got cut from his like high school basketball team, right?
Oh, yeah.
What, like, imagine the fire that created in him for him to come and be the greatest basketball player of all time. And I'm sure it just wasn't that, but when people doubt you or you have these setbacks, we've talked about, you know, getting into like a negative actions and reacting negatively to it, where you're self-sabotaging, setting yourself further back. If you take those and turn them into a positive, turn them into fuel, turn them into like a learning experience, and then move forward from that. For me, like this week, I was thinking a lot about that. All these things that I've experienced in my life, like I said, on paper, look like setbacks. They could be perceived as negative experiences, but something positive has always come from that. And so if you're currently going through an experience where, you know, you're having a difficult time or you're having these setbacks, just know that things are being moved out of your life for better things to come, for that better job, for the better car, you know, the better house, all these things. You're going to learn from them and use that as motivation to grow and to learn and turn those negatives into positives. And so that's how like I perceive these situations that I've experienced and turn them into a positive experience by seeing, okay, well, this didn't happen. So, you know, like one example is when I broke my ankle. You remember that? Like,
Oh,
I don't
yes.
think I've talked about that, but I broke my ankle and I was like, I had to have 2 surgeries and I still have screws and plates in my ankle. And I had to sit at home and just kind of do nothing for, I think it was close to 5 months. And that was like a difficult time in my life and it was a difficult experience, but I feel like that motivated me to do my business, or it motivated me to like, you know, like all these experiences, just you could perceive them as something negative and let them beat you and let them break you down, or you can rebuild from that, use that as motivation, use that as fuel to chase your goals, to follow your dreams. So if you're currently in an experience like that, I just want to say like, use that as fuel. There's something way better coming. And if you focus on that, if you prepare yourself for that better experience, you're going to be in a great situation, and you're going to look back at this particular situation that you're going through now as something positive and be like, oh, I'm so glad I lost that job, or I'm so glad that this happened because it set me up for this.
Yep, I agree with that. So you're half bionic?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
My right foot is.
Yeah, I remember when you broke your foot, especially when you can't stand still.
Yeah.
And that was hard for you. I think that was the most time that I saw you grouchiest too. And I think that's the first time you snapped at me.
Yeah, and at the time I had like so much freedom. My job, I drove a tow truck. So I was just in and out of the house, always out, always doing something. And it went from that to me just being stuck at home for 5 months, not being able to walk. I needed help getting in and out of the shower. Like I've always been like independent. I've always done everything myself. So going from being that to sitting at home and like watching Netflix all day was torture. It was mental torture to me.
Right. I remember when I stopped by and visited you, you were like, get away from my leg. You might bump into it.
Oh yeah, when we were watching the fight.
Was it the fight?
I think you were over and we were watching the fight at my house.
Oh, I think something like that. Yeah. It was funny. I was like, wow. And then just seeing you be still, I just saw you miserable.
It was a tough time, but like I said, after that is when I, focused more on my business and created what I have now. So I think looking back at it, that was something that I was like, it gave me a real shock to not take life for granted. Chase your dreams. If there's something that you want to do, go out and do it, because we don't know. That time it was my ankle and it was just 5 months, but you never know when your last day is. And a lot of us kind of sit and wait for the perfect time to start the business or go to school or whatever your goals are in life. And I think that for me, that experience taught me like, no, you have to do it now. Like you have to chase your dreams now, because you never know when your last day here is. You never know when you're going to be in bed for 5 months,
Right. So you're saying YOLO? You only live once?
Do it. Chase those dreams, whatever it is. Obviously, try to move calculated, try to set yourself up for success, but go out and do it and start taking those steps now. It goes back to like the present moment, right? All we have is the present moment, and whatever you want in your future is going to be determined by what you do right now.
That's actually true, Jason. I mean, I'm a true believer. And like I said, you motivated me a lot. And like I said, and that's the good thing that you noticed too, that you had a good group of support around you. Did
Yeah.
you when you broke your leg and stuff like that, when you were
Yeah.
standing still?
Yeah. I feel like, my friends, my family, my brothers, they would all come take care of me, bring me food. Like I couldn't cook. I couldn't do anything. And so
You couldn't dance.
I couldn't dance, unfortunately. Still can't.
Jason's an awesome dancer, by the way.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I like I said, these experiences that we perceive as negative, don't let them knock you down. If anything, get up, use that as fuel, move, get motivated, whatever it is that you need to do. If you need to get in the gym, whatever your goals are, like I said, you're setting yourself up today for where you're gonna be in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. And so that's like the thought that I had like during this week is like there are no losses.
No else?
No L's in life. Never.
I like your positive view. I mean, I guess so. I mean, like you said, yeah. I mean, I think for every action, there's a reaction, and whatever you do, you have to make sure that you have like a backup plan. I always feel like that, to always be prepared and have something to fall on.
Yeah. And that goes back to like the present moment, right? If you want to set yourself up and set up, a plan B and move through whatever your goal is, setting yourself up for that success, dude.
Yeah, that's perfect. Take me to your thought process when you were down and out before you got your surgery. I know you got hurt. We'll get into that, how you got hurt. But when you got hurt, you knew that you needed surgery. What was your thought process on that?
I mean, luckily, like we talked about, my mind, I think, works a little bit different, right? So when I was on a hike, I fell and like my foot, I seen it dangling. And so I'm not a doctor and I've never broken a bone. So I was like, that doesn't look right. But in my head, I was like, maybe they could just like pop it back in place, right? Or something. I was trying to think best case scenario. And so I go
put a Band-Aid on it?
Yeah, just a massage or something. And I go to the ER and they're like, oh, it's going to be like 3 weeks to recover. And I was like, oh no, like 3 weeks, right? And like that was the first blow. And I was like, okay, I think I can manage 3 weeks. Then when I talked to the surgeon, he's like, well, it's going to be closer to like 3 to 4 months, which was another blow. I was like, no way. Like I said, I was working at the time. So not being able to work for 3 to 4 months and all that. So it was kind of like, luckily it was gradual. I think if they would have told me that, it was like going to be 3 to 4 months at the ER, I would have,
just take it off my legs.
Yeah. Just cut it off, doc.
Right.
But, yeah, just maneuvering through that. I went into surgery. So like my thoughts before, like I said, I've never broken a bone before. So I was just like, this is what we have to do. If you want to walk again, this is what we have to do. And I have like 2 plates and there was probably like 18 or something like that screws in my foot. Ouch. It was a tough time. And then after that, I had to have a second surgery to have some of the screws and plates removed. So right now I think I have like 16 screws in my foot, which miraculously, like people always tell me, like, does that like bother you with your runs and everything? And it doesn't at all. I think the doctor that I went to did a really good job because if anything, the one that's not broken sometimes bothers me, but the broken one never does.
I heard that it heals stronger, but does the weather affect you? Like when there's change of seasons, do you feel it on your foot or not?
Not really, but at the same time, I don't focus too much on that. Like I don't like, oh, my ankle hurts. Like, is it going to snow or, there's people, or is it going to rain? There's people like that. And I think there's some scientific proof that actually does affect like the pressure or whatever.
It does. How about, no te llevaron a un sobador? I'm surprised they didn't take you to que te soben la rodilla.
No, I think we're way beyond that.
No, I'm just playing, man. You have to joke around.
Yeah.
Too soon?
No, I think it's... I wish that would have been it. I wish I could have just
pop it back in.
Just pop it back in. That'd have been good.
Remember when you were running and you pop? What was it that you popped? Your quads or your hamstrings?
Hamstrings. I was running and I
tore
both my hamstrings.
Oh, that was crazy. I remember you told me that was like so awful.
That was painful too.
I wish I was there to record it though, so we could have a live feed.
I know. The thing was with that is I went to the gym the day or two before, and my legs were really sore. And my partner at the time was like, you want to race? We were at the park. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we're both having a foot race running. And as I'm running, I just heard like a consecutive one after another. Normally it's just one, right? Like you watch like NFL or whatever, these people get injured. Normally it's one. But for me, I must have really wanted to win the race because it was one after another. It was like one step pop and then the second step pop. And I was like, never happened to me before. So I was confused. I just felt pain and I was like, I don't know what happened. Anyways, Johnny seen like my hamstrings were all purple and it was super painful and uncomfortable. But
I thought you were getting gangrene or something like that.
I thought so too.
Well, take me through your thought process when you were about to go get surgery. Like, you're knowing that they're going to put you to sleep. They're going to operate on your foot. What were you feeling?
It's crazy because, having kids, like that's what you think. And it was just like a foot surgery. So, I mean.
They still put you to sleep, right?
Yeah, they did put me to sleep. But you start thinking about like the things you appreciate in life, right? Like the simple things, like just being around your kids, being able to play with your kids. Like, are you going to wake up from this surgery? And you just start appreciating like the small stuff, just being with your family, all the memories with your friends. Like, to me, that's what was on my mind was like my friends and family. Like, am I going to come out of this? Am I going to wake up? You never know.
Right. And when you woke up, what was the first thing you did? Or what do you remember?
I remember, waking up and then they like, they put a tube in your throat, right?
I don't know about that, Jason.
Yeah, well, they did something because I woke up and I had like a super sore throat and I could barely talk and it was super raspy. And then I felt fine. I was like, oh, I feel great, right? But it's always like that because they have you so drugged up that you don't feel anything. That night when I got home, I have this thing where I refuse to take like pain meds.
Oh, me too.
And so I don't know if the first night, I might have taken some the first night, but I just remember I was like, I'm just going to, feel the pain. Like, let's just go through it. And I could like, if I had to explain it, it felt like I could feel somebody tightening the screws in my ankle because it was like so much pressure. And it was miserable. It was painful. But normally like something like that, like if I have to take pain meds, I'll try to get off them as soon as I can just because I'm not trying to
get addicted.
Go down that road.
Well, I guess they're getting rid of the opioids because my situation. I'm about to go. Well, it's official. I think last time I explained that I need my right shoulder surgery. I need to get my labrum repair. So I have a front and back tear. So that's an official operation, and most likely I'm heading towards a lower back operation because the last injection that they put for Valentine's Day, they told me it had to last for a while. So unfortunately, it only lasted about 2 weeks. It's starting to run off, so I could feel it. So, I mean, and I refuse to take pain meds, but they're giving me some that are not opioids, but they still mess up your stomach and stuff like that.
So what's your thought process with, going into these surgeries that you're going to have to get?
I'm a little bit nervous because I fractured some ribs. That's the closest that I had. And then I had a bad experience with surgery. When I was young in high school, my appendix ruptured. Oh no, it was about to rupture. But I was feeling sick and I was at school and they wouldn't send me home. But I ended up being in the hospital for over a month. I ended up in the ICU and everything like that. So I'm like kind of scared. I'm allergic to penicillin. So they made me allergic to penicillin. So it's kind of scary. So I think that's the major surgery that I had. And then when I was younger, they drained my ears. So that was another surgery. But other than that, I'm nervous. That's why I was wondering, if anybody out there has had any lower back surgery, because I got it in the worst spot. I have it right in the L1 and S1 and L5 or something like that, right where it curves. So I get to go see the surgeon this week coming up. I still need to get my neck ablation, left and right, which I postponed.
For those of us that don't know what that means, what does that mean?
They kill the nerves around your neck so you don't feel pain. So with radioactive waves, I guess they had to do one side at a time. I already got the injections on the neck, so it felt good. but now they ran out, so I have to get that on my neck and on my middle back. So it's a work in process, but it kind of made me kind of sad in the beginning because I had to put a lot of things on hold, like playing one on one with Jason. That was my therapy too.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's like you said, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. But I've been going through a lot, and like I said, I always try to, like I said, turn that negative energy and refocus it. But sometimes it takes a toll on you, Jason.
Yeah, I get it, but also, I mean, I think that you've tried to do some natural remedies like physical therapy and seeing what you could do without surgery. But I mean, if the doctor's telling you that's what you have to do, I think that looking at it positive and getting that fixed, and after all that, being able to, not be in pain and not deal with those injuries, I think would be ideal. That's something that you could focus on.
But I seen, like, actually last time I went to the bank, to have one of my nephews out, and the gentleman there, he was younger than me, and he had the surgeries that I need, like from his lower back. And he said that the first time it helped, but the second time didn't. And I heard about a lot of multiple people that I know close to me has told me that they had that surgery, and yes, the first time it worked, but the second time it doesn't. And I heard some of them tell me don't do it. Some of them tell me to do it. And I'm nervous. But like I said, I'm taking it a step by step. Like I'm telling you, I'm trying to find any remedy or any miracle or any solution to get my back, my body where it used to be. Because you see me. Sometimes I have limited mobility. Sometimes you make fun of me because you're like, oh, are you going to just sit down or stand there? Because you're out like moving 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And I like smooth. I mean, but it's like I said, it helps.
And everybody's living in their reality too, right? Like you have your reality of how your body feels. I have my reality of how my body feels. And like subconsciously, I expect you to feel like me, but I don't know how you feel. I don't know how the, dude down the street feels.
Right. And the older you get, it's so funny. You start to learn how your body works or how your body feels. So, like I said, it's very interesting, and like being here with you, next to you, talking to you. It has helped me. It's like a therapy for me. It has motivate me. It has keep me down on my ups and downs.
Yeah, I think having like conversations and having people that support you and kind of give you that positivity, because if you surround yourself with people that are just negative and are going to be, putting you down, or I don't know, just doesn't seem like it would be beneficial, So surrounding yourself by people that are going to uplift you, that are positive, that can kind of help you. We all have our ups and downs.
Well, don't get us wrong. We still like that friendly banter. We go back and forth. We make fun. I mean, we have to. But one thing that I don't like is when you try to make fun of people to make yourself feel better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think there's a big difference if you're like friends and you kind of like go back and forth and say, we just try to be funny and make each other laugh. I feel like me and Johnny, we always do that. We'll always, Johnny's always making me crack up, and then we're always like going back and forth on stuff, but it's never like to put him down or to like hurt his feelings. It's to get a laugh out of it. So we'll both be laughing about something,
or we take it to the extreme.
Yeah, we always do too. And like, I don't know. We have even like before recording these podcasts, we're always laughing, and like, or even working on this studio that we have now. We spent a few days like working on the stuff. And so, just laughing and joking around. It's a good time, and it's a good break from like the realities of like work and, the kids, family, all that stuff. Like having that break, being able to like laugh and decompress, and it's a good time.
Yeah. I don't remember that much. I mean, I remember some of your, I'm circling back to when you got hurt and you were, down for a while. Did we play COD, or was I missing an action?
No. Yeah. I don't think I did, because at the time all my stuff was in the basement and I couldn't get down the stairs. So I don't think I did play. I just remember watching Netflix, like everything on Netflix.
Yeah, how come you never told me to move it upstairs next to you, dude?
Well, at the time too, if you remember, I was supposed to be moving out of that house. So everything was like packed up, and I don't know. It was just like a chaotic
Oh,
time.
really? I don't. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't. Damn, I don't remember that much. I mean, I remember you getting hurt. I remember me being there for you. As much as I could, because you've been there for me when I needed you. So I try to return the favor. I try to be a good friend. I hope I'm a good friend.
Yeah, for sure. I think that even like we talked about the studio, like working on this, we both have our role. Like we both work together, even though Johnny's, like he would say, handicapped.
Limited, bro.
Limited. He has limited mobility. We still work together. So I'm like up and down the ladder. I'm like doing these things. And then Johnny's kind of like getting everything ready for me so that we can like move forward faster. So I think like we find our roles and what we excel at.
That's true, man. Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, no problem.
So what else is on your mind, Jay?
I think the next topic I wanted to touch was letting go of guilt and like forgiving yourself. Like I said, these are just like thoughts that I have throughout my day.
You hear voices? Kind of getting scared, Jason.
Yeah, I do. I have voices in my head.
Schizophrenic, Jason?
Yeah.
Are you taking your meds?
I really feel like I have pretty much conversations like this with myself in my head. I was talking to my brother and I'm like, I feel like I have like a podcast running with myself all day long, because I'll have these thoughts and then like I'll like coach myself through it, or I'll like just like I do now, like why do you think that, or what caused you to feel that way? And so I'll have these conversations with myself and kind of like life coach, which is, like I said, I don't know if is it just me that nobody else does that? Maybe. But yeah, like letting go of guilt, right? We make decisions in life and we make the best decisions with the knowledge we have in the moment. And a lot of times we carry around guilt or, these emotions that aren't going to benefit us, and letting go of that guilt and forgiving yourself, forgiving everybody around you, and just like we've talked about before, we're not perfect, right? So we're going to hurt the people we love. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to experience this life, these ups and downs. And it's good to learn from your mistakes. It's good to grow from those experiences. But it's also good, like once you learn your lesson, once you see everything, like why everything happened and everything came together, it's good to just forgive yourself. Whether you made a mistake and you hurt somebody, it's good to forgive yourself and let that go. Or if somebody hurt you, right? Forgive them and let that go. Like you don't need to carry around any like resentment and hate for people. Just like I myself am not perfect, I don't expect anybody outside of me to be perfect either. I think we're just doing our best. And so when you look at life like that, where everybody's just trying to do their best and work on forgiving and seeing life as just a roller coaster, right? Like it's going to have its ups and downs. You're going to get hurt. You're going to hurt people. There's going to be experiences that are going to be positive and negative. And so, taking the time to whatever it is, right? Whatever tools, everybody's different. So everybody's like the tools that work for them are going to be different. And I think it's like finding those tools. For me, I've talked about, I go to therapy. I've talked about books, audiobooks, podcasts. I'll even like a lot of my social medias is like knowledge, right? We talk about Lori. Lori's like somebody that she, is constantly posting, and I'm constantly watching her stuff. And it's about life and how to maneuver through like emotions and ups and downs, and not believing like these stories that, this person is bad or this person did you wrong. Like that person is what it is, and they're their own person. And, you get to grow from that and let it go and experience your life and see it as a lesson.
So do you believe in closure though? Like, do you sometimes need closures to move on and not carry guilt or forgiveness? Like, or do you need some kind of closure?
I think it depends what you mean by closure, because I don't think anybody can give you anything outwardly, right? So if you're talking about closure, like, oh, this friend betrayed me, and so I need to have this last conversation for closure. I think if you're open and they're open, it's great, like a great conversation to have. But if you reach out to this friend that, you know, you guys had a falling out, let's use that for an example, and they're like, nah, I'm good. Like, you don't need that closure. You can do it on your own. You know, you don't need anything outside of you. So you don't need to have that conversation. You can have the conversation with yourself and be like, okay, you know, this happened. Then I did this. And so it caused this. And at the time, you know, I made the best decision with the knowledge that I had. And you get to like work through these stories and be able to give yourself that closure, because you can't expect people to live like you or to have the perception of life like you. And so ultimately, all that you can control is yourself. And so giving yourself that closure, I think is great. Seeing why it happened is great. And we talk about like why things happen, you know, and seeing them as never taking a loss. So the positives that came from that, that's the closure that you need, is seeing like if it's a friendship you lost, seeing, you know, oh, it was a great friendship. There was these positives, but obviously there was also these things that didn't work and that caused this, and giving yourself that closure and giving yourself just that opportunity to let it go and not carry that stuff around.
No, I hear you. I hear you. You know, with my depression, you know, it's hard. Like, you know, that disease or that feeling sometimes makes you hold on to that guilt. You know what I'm saying? Even though you wanna overcome it, sometimes you hold on to it and you dwell on it too much. And that's why I feel that lately, when I've been hanging around with you more lately because of this situation. Right. So your positivity has helped me a lot, like to not get into that circle. And you notice that every time I want to get into that circle, I give you a call and I tell you, hey, bro, let's do something, or let's go somewhere, you know, or pick me up, right?
Or go get lunch or dinner or whatever.
Right, because like you said, you need people to talk to. And like I feel like most of my time when I was down that road, I would head out to guilt. And it's funny because all sorts of kind of guilt, like from the past, years ago, decades ago, will come back, and I'll be like, man, if I would have done that. But I'm learning how to live with this, especially now going to counseling and getting therapy, and my second counseling, being here next to you and talking about this, has helped a lot to keep me a little bit more positive, you know. But you know, because you know how I am, I become a recluse.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's normal, like you talk about depression and it kind of like keeps you locked down. But I think it's just opening your eyes and changing your perception of even depression. Like, I feel like if I'm honest with myself, you know, I've struggled with depression. I've struggled with those, you know, mental challenges. But I don't accept it as me. I think it's just something that I was experiencing at the time, and, you know, getting the knowledge and learning skills to move past that, to change your perception of that. So you look at life, let's say decades ago, right? That was a really long time ago. Something happened, and sometimes you still deal with the guilt of that. And so looking at that and saying, well, because that happened, you know, now you have your daughters, you have your home, like you've done good for yourself. And so looking at it as a road of that, this road got you here. And then now that you're here, you have all these positive things in your life, and seeing that as part of the process. Like, yeah, that part sucked and that was painful, or, you know, that made me real sad, and these emotions, but seeing that as the road to where you're at now. And now you have these injuries, and in the future, you're going to look back and see it as like, oh, I'm glad that happened, because, you know, in 5 years from now, you have your business and all this other stuff. Like right now that you're struggling with your movements, when that goes away, you're going to have a new motivation, right? To be able to go out and chase your dreams. And so you'll be able to look at the time now and be like, those injuries happened for me to be able to, for motivation to, once you can move, once you can do all these things, you're going to enjoy playing basketball a lot more than you did.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's the funny part, because remember how long we've been trying to get this podcast rolling?
Yeah. Like a few years.
Yeah. It's been quite a while, but because of my situation, but this injury has kind of make me kind of want to do this, because again, it has helped me like clear my mind a little bit, talking to you, spending time with you, talking to giving other people a platform. Hopefully, we have people that want to talk about their traumas, or anything in regarding. But what I was going to tell you is, when you were going through that situation with your depression and stuff like that, other than going to counseling and having your friends, did you talk a lot with your brothers? Like when you were feeling down, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so much. I almost like on a daily basis, whenever I could, I would have whatever thought. Like I said, I have these like voices, right, that play out in my head, and I think we
keep
all
scaring me with the voices. Seriously, you are.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just me, but I do have these conversations with myself about, oh, I did this or this happened, and so then like I'll like break down and analyze, and almost every day there's a new subject. So whenever I would like have time with my brothers or my mom or even like Johnny or the friends in my life, I would like just share whatever was on my mind, whatever I was like experiencing in the moment. I would share it with them, and my brothers are always super helpful and positive and like give me good insight. And then people in my life too, just like sharing like, hey, like, this is what you offer, like kind of showing me the positives when I was like in a moment of just like focusing on the negatives of myself or my shortcomings, right? The choices that I made, all of these things. And then you have people that are like, yeah, sure. Right. Like, and I try to do this with you, like, yeah, sure. Maybe you made these decisions that could have been better, but this is what you did do too. This is what you offer too. This is who you are as a person as well. And focusing on those positives and working on those, right? Like strengthening those positives about yourself and making them stronger, and also being aware of like the negatives or the mistakes that you made and rectifying that as well.
No, I hear you. I mean, I think that's beautiful that you have your brothers, your mom to talk to, like that. That's why I'm so grateful about you, because the times that I have been feeling down, you always came through. Like, I mean, even if I didn't call you, you would show up, or call me and blow up my phone and, and make sure that I was okay or I was alive, and thank you, Jason, for being there for me, for having, you were like a shoulder to cry for. You're like my brother I never had, because I have no brothers or anything. I really don't have, I mean, I have family, but I really don't have like family members that I'm close to no more. I don't have, I can't really carry on a conversation with my mom because she's going through her stuff, and that's about it. It's a little bit hard for me sometimes, but I think that's why when I go to counseling, that's my go-to time. Like I make that thing religiously, no matter if I'm, well, it depends if I'm super sick, but I try to go there because it helps me. It gives me a space to talk to somebody and not be judged, because a lot of people there's certain people that who to talk to and not to talk to, because some people don't empathize with you, or they don't understand your situation, or they just don't care, you could tell that it's bothering them, so you have to be very selective. And I appreciate that you have let me be that person for you, and vice versa, and you be that person for me.
Yeah. And I think that like creating that community, right, especially with men, right, like it's harder to find men that are going to be open and have these conversations. But for me, I just have people that come into my life, like my buddy that I work with. We experience similar creating all fonts on Instagram.
Oh my God, I like your drawings again. Sorry.
Yeah, and so for him, like we had these like deep conversations, and we were experiencing similar things, and I don't know, it was just like so helpful to share with him like what I was going through, and then he would share with me what he was going through, and through all of it, and even now we still talk like about oh, how's everything, like how's life, how's like your feelings and your emotions and the ups and downs. And he's another person that I feel like I don't know, just like a super good dude, super good dad. And like we were able to have like these deep conversations, and it's really good. And so finding those people, and as you walk through life, being open to those conversations, being open to like those people, I think more people like that come into your life.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Like, I mean, me and you became good friends from work,
Right.
And it started at work having good times. And then from there, it became a good friendship, and ever since then, we have been kind of like inseparable. Like, we haven't, like you said, we took time off. We're not seeing each other, but every time we see each other, it's just like day one again, like, the good times.
Yeah. And it's been both of us, right? Like there's times where Johnny's the one that's reaching out.
What? Excuse me. That's okay.
Sometimes it's I said it again.
And Derek, that's okay. You're probably thinking about him. That's your other best friend.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ronnie. Well,
Yeah.
that's your best friend. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think we're a trio.
Oh wait, what? Sounds personal. I'm just kidding.
X-rated. But no. Sometimes it's Johnny reaching out to me and being like, "Hey, let's go like do this. Let's go play basketball. Let's go out to eat. Let's go do these things." And sometimes it's me. So it's like both of us, depending on what we're dealing with. Like reaching out and creating time to have like this like boys time out or whatever. Whatever we're playing sports, or we're just we always go watch UFC or boxing and all that stuff. And so creating that community is important. And if you have people in your life that are negative or that are like holding you down, that don't celebrate your wins, I think it's time to like start getting those people out of your life and creating space for these new people that are going to support you, that are going to grow, that are going to encourage you,
Yeah, I have certain people. I mean, like I could tell you, I could count my friends on my hands, right? I have certain people that I know how I could talk to them serious, to talk about some other good, good stuff, or I know how I have certain friends that I just shoot the shit with, like I could lose myself and just be immature and be a kid, and I have friends that I could do both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that feels great. Like I said, having this platform that we're making here, and starting this new journey that we're going through, it has helped me out a lot. So what I want to do is share this platform again. Like if you have any subject that you want to talk, or you need somebody to talk to, reach out to us. Maybe you don't want to be on the podcast, but you want to talk or have somebody, to lean on. Feel free to hit us up. We'll be that support, because like I said, in my lifetime, if I didn't have Jason, I wouldn't know what I would be at, but he has helped me out a lot. So I want to return that favor,
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing to touch on is, if you listen to the podcast and you kind of resonate with this stuff and you're going through a hard time, or even if you're not, but if this resonates with you and you feel like, oh, I like, what they're talking about, it doesn't even have to do with the podcast for me. Like if you want to DM me directly and be like, yo, can we have a conversation, like, or talk on the phone? We don't even have to know each other. But if you're going through difficult times in life and you just need somebody to like talk to, I don't care if I know you, if I don't know you, like reach out one way or another, like get a hold of us. And whether it's the podcast, or you want to comment, or you want us to talk on a subject, or you want to share your story, all that stuff is great. And I think, creating a community with this podcast has been our goal, is creating a community of people that have similar thoughts, right? They think similar, that are going to have open conversations about the struggles and, emotions and mental health. But if you don't want to be involved with the podcast and just deal with me and Johnny directly, or if you want to have a conversation, reach out to us wherever on social media.
And it just does not apply just to men. It applies to anybody, women, ladies. If you need, a man's perspective, or if you want to give us any kind of perspectives, you're welcome to again, just feel free to reach out. You know, me and myself been through a lot of stuff in life, so it has taught me a good thing. It has got me to where I'm at now. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying again. Sorry,
And
I get nervous.
It's only going up from here. Like, just life in general, I just see with everything that we're doing now, right? Like we talk about, the present moment is what matters. Everything that we're doing right now is setting us up for what is coming in the future. And I feel like with this podcast is just like another stepping stone, like another tool, another way for us to continue to create a community, right? And bring in more friends and more people that, like Johnny said, whether it's men or women, like coming in and creating a community to where we can have these vulnerable conversations. We could talk about the struggles without being judged, without having fear of, whatever we're posting. Like, I like to post my stuff on social media just because, to get the word out there, like my struggles and the things that I deal with. I share that just so that if there's somebody out there, take a few minutes and listen, and maybe you start to grasp and understand. And I'm not like, we're not professionals. We're just normal dudes that are sharing our ideas on the internet.
Yeah. Like I said, and this is a free judging zone. We don't judge or anything like that. I know we're gonna have some trolls or stuff like that, but like you said, you just have to. What doesn't break you makes you stronger, and then just focus that negative energies and refocus it. But like I said, we want to help as much as we can, even if you're like, we're set up for 4 right now. So if you even want to have an intervention, we could help you out.
And with what Johnny, just said in regards to, I just lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
What were you saying right
No.
now?
Like, this is a free judging zone. And if you want to do an intervention, you're welcome, and we're set up for 4 people.
Yeah. And so for me, like, sharing my story and sharing these ideas, it's something that, because Johnny brought up the thing about trolls, right? Like, people, and I'm sure, like Johnny said, there's going to be people that have their perceptions, and that's great. I think everybody gets to have their own ideas and perceptions of everything in life. But for me, like, my thought process with that, like, when I think, obviously I have these thoughts, like, people are going to judge me if I put my business out on the internet. But ultimately, people that are going to judge you have no say in your life. They're strangers. So, like, there's nothing that somebody could say to me that I haven't already said about myself.
Yeah, as long as, they're not paying my bills.
Right.
So they could say whatever they want. When they start paying my bills, or they start maintaining me, or, I'm one of their dependents, then you could talk all the shit you want. And yes, it will take a toll on me. But I see that way. That's what I tell, my partner, my wife. I tell her, like, hey, why are you worried what other people say? Are they paying your bills? Are they the ones worrying right there? Like, if you're going to eat, if you have food on the table, a roof over your head, as long as you do you, be happy, like, people are always going to criticize, I don't mind constructive criticism,
right?
Which I love, because that's taught me how to get in a lot of places, or picking other people's brain. But like I said, just be happy sometimes. It's hard. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Being, like I said, going into counseling, being regular on my meds, staying away from alcohol, it's helping me out a lot. Learning how to know my body has helped me too. And having a good friend like Jason has helped me a lot too. And a good partner.
Yeah.
My significant other has been there for thick or thin.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen it.
That's why I'm a trophy husband.
Yeah. So, like, just to touch on that subject with depression, right? Like, for me, when I was dealing with that, I had a lot of judgments about myself, like we talked about earlier. And I had a lot of self-talk about myself, like, in a negative way, that I did this, or that I did that. I didn't do this. And so I judged myself so much, and I dealt with so much, like, hatred towards myself, that's why now, once again, like, there are no losses, right? Like, you think about that, and that could be perceived as negative. But I put myself down so low that now that I'm able to, like, share my experiences and my story. If somebody wants to say something, or if somebody has a perception of me or the podcast or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter to me, because I'm like, I already went through that myself. I already judged myself. I've already said those things to myself, and I got through it. Like I worked through all that. And so now if somebody on the outside wants to say anything, like it doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter.
You know, one thing that I always know about dealing with anything, the only person that could fix it is yourself. Like, you know, because you could have like somebody put you to the best doctors, you know, give you all the best advice. But if you don't take it and you don't do it yourself, you're the only one that could do it, you know, because that's how I feel. Like, I like to share my experience. I don't like to be the person that says, I told you so, you know, but I understand. I'm very empathetic. I think that's what has made me, when I was able to be on the workforce and be a little bit more active, being empathetical has helped me, you know, gain a lot of, you know, help people in any kind of forms, or have people just open up on me without even knowing them. I sometimes have conversation with strangers, and they tell me like their life story within a couple minutes, and it feels great, you know, and I'm like, oh wow, thank you for trusting me. And it makes me feel good, because sometimes I could relate, and most of the time, believe me, I could relate to a lot of the stuff. Like, I always was always in the outside looking in, and now I could share my experiences. You know, I've been there where I lost a house, you know, I lost a marriage, I got into, well, one bad accident, and I came out and talked about it, you know. This one, you know, I got rear-ended. That one, I got more hurt than the first accident that I had, and the first one was worse. You know, so it's crazy. But like, I like what you say, and like I said, get yourself a good partner, you know, a good friend, somebody that they could keep you accountable. And I think that's what you always do. You always keep me accountable, right? When sometimes we try not to go over budget.
Yeah, with the podcast.
Yeah, but dude, I love. I know you're gonna put some pictures out there of our new flooring as well in our studio.
Yeah,
Jason did an amazing job with that flooring. Oh my god, we want to put a logo. You guys are gonna be surprised. Like I said, it's a work in progress. I think we're finding our niche. You know,
yeah,
we're still raw, but like I said, anything that you guys, anything you want to talk about, like if you're starting a own business or you're already established business, but you want to put your work out there, you're welcome. You know, we want to pick your brain on how you started your business or how did it come about. You know,
yeah. And back to like the studio thing. If you're wanting to do something, but you're waiting for like the perfect moment, you're waiting until you have all of the money, you're waiting until you have all of the time. This podcast, we're in like episode 5, right?
Yep.
And it's a perfect example to where we started at, you know, our background was the front of my store. And so we started with whatever we had at the moment, not waiting till we had the studio and we have all these things. And even now we're recording and we're still not done. We still have other things that are going to be coming in. So, don't make excuses. Go out and do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to start a podcast, you can record a podcast on your phone. You don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need, like, start now, or start setting yourself up for your success now, chase your dreams, like whatever you want to do. Start it now. Don't let any excuses stop you from that.
How about 2J's production coming soon too?
Yeah, 2J's production.
Right. 2J's production. But whatever. We'll work on the name. But like, we want to help you too. If you want to do your own podcast, if you want to do a one-on-one, you know, we want to build, you know, we're working on the studios to help you open the doors for you too.
Yeah. If you want to do your own podcast now, we have this space where we're going to continue to build out, and depending how everything goes, like have a couple studios that we can, you know, offer to people to come record their own podcast and share their stories.
Yeah, different sets. We're trying to get one more sets. I'm trying to convince Jason, if you guys want to comment in there, I'm trying to convince Jason to do a green screen, something original, but I don't know. You don't like the green screen ideas yet, right?
I don't know. It just looks like cheesy to me, but
it's cheesy, but having fun, Jason. Like your voice that you're gonna talk to the next episode.
yeah.
We still haven't. They haven't voted on that. Have you got any comments or anything?
No, I don't think we got anything this last one.
Again, crickets.
Nothing.
That's all right. At least we got some views.
Yeah.
It's the thought that counts. Like I said, even if we don't get that famous, we'll still be happy doing this.
Okay, I did find a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
On YouTube.
Nice.
It's from Leonora, and she says, "I don't know, Johnny. I get confused about what you're trying to say. Totally feels like you don't own up for all the things you say you're owning up to. Just my opinion. Try being more specific about what you are trying to say. Totally love supporting local podcasts."
Nice. Point taken.
And then Dino Mike commented as well.
Dino Mike.
Yeah. He put conspiracy, paranormal / aliens, and business startups. Just saying. So I think those are some of the subjects that he would want us to touch on, which I think is cool. I think as far as conspiracies and all that stuff, I think Johnny will lead the way on that. I think he has a lot of experience on that. Paranormal and aliens. What do you think about that?
Oh, dude, I have some paranormal stories that I could tell you. Woo.
Really?
Yep.
I don't like.
Do you don't believe in ghosts?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I don't believe in it, but there's obviously people always say stories, and I've experienced stuff too. Like, I used to work at a hotel night shift, and I would always hear somebody saying my name, like whispering.
Yeah, that's somebody trying to, like, it's crazy,
Speak
dude.
to me.
Yeah.
But I never paid it no mind. Like, I was just always like, oh well.
Dude, I think I sent you a video in South America about the el duende, the little. I don't know what they call it.
The gnome. The gnome.
They're gnomes in English. They're ghosts, but I know them as duende, and they're just showing, like, now with technology, because remember back in the days there was not that many cameras or
Right.
smartphones.
Right.
So with all these innovations, they're able to capture these things. And there's a video showing of this little duende coming into a shop, but it's like speeding really fast, and it's like they slow it down. That's crazy.
But do you think that's real?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I experienced some. I'm telling you, life shows you. That's enough said, Jacob. I mean, I know we're pressed for time, but we could. Well, that was that Money Mike.
Dino Mike.
Oh, sounds like Money Mike. Dino Mike.
We call him Money Mike.
Yeah, that's actually a nice topic. We'll look into it. Leonora. Point taken. We're, like I said, we're still raw and trying to get our niche. Trying to own it. But like I said, we've been getting a lot of good construction criticism, and I think working around it.
One thing that people have told me too is, like, me and Johnny are so different, right? I feel like we're friends and we hang out all the time, we talk every day, but we're really different. And I think that for me, doing the podcast with Johnny is good because I think that we have like two different sides. So maybe there's somebody that understands like Johnny and his story and like what he's dealing with, and we can have these conversations and like have two different perspectives, right? Like if we were the same person and we both believe the same thing, it might be a little bit difficult to have these conversations, and not necessarily debates, but share our ideas and share the way we see life. And having two different people that see life differently is, I think we can appeal to two different types of people. Maybe some people understand me more, like Leonora, and maybe some people understand you more to where they're like, yeah, I understand. Like, I feel the anxiety that Johnny deals with, or the depression, like they're dealing with that now. So I think it's good to have some contrast. And then Dino Mike with the business startups, I think I love talking about.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here with the podcast, right? Like trying to do another studio to give other people a platform or do their own podcast.
Yeah, I think like business for me has like always interested me, and that's why I started my business. And like I said before, I've learned so much, and continuing to do things like this podcast. And then it's always, for me, it's like about growing and pivoting and seeing what other opportunities are out there, right? So we did this podcast studio for our podcast, but now it's like we have a space. Now we can like Johnny said, do another set and offer it for people to come and do their podcast. That way, you don't have to invest into equipment and a set and all that stuff. You just come here and you could use the stuff that we have here.
And one thing that I just want to remind everybody, remember, I was raised by Biggie, Tupac, and Dr. Dre. So I'm from that generation. And remember, don't take my kindness for weakness either. And sometimes I hide my pain through a smile, but it is what it is. But I own up to a lot of stuff, Jay.
No, yeah. And like I said, there's two, like, people have different perceptions and different ideas in life. And I think us sharing and talking about it, going back and forth, is, I think, what will help people.
I think we should start carrying a recorder, because sometimes we have some good conversations where we're just hanging out,
Yeah.
And then when we get to the podcast, I get too nervous sometimes.
Yeah, we have behind the scene videos too that are hilarious that I want to share.
Right. And then sitting and stagnant, like you see me when we hanging around, like standing up and sitting up and standing up and moving. And right now, like being stagnant, it just hurts me.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Well, sign us off, Jay.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. This is episode number 5. We appreciate all your support. Comment, like, subscribe, follow us. 2Js in a Pod on Instagram. 2Js in a Pod on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Did I say YouTube? Comment on YouTube, comment on Instagram, DM us like we talked about. If you want to have a conversation, if you need some advice or want to, I don't know, hear us out. Like I said, it doesn't have to even do with the podcast. It could just be something that you want to sit down and have a conversation. We can do that. Remember to love yourself. You're the most important person in your life.
Peace. Thank you, Jay.